Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So if you guys are new here, my name is Michelle and I love all things beauty, skincare, makeup, hair care, you name it, I basically love it. And if you guys love that too, make sure you guys do hit the red subscribe button down below and also hit the notification bell so that way you guys never miss out on any videos that I post. And let's go ahead and jump right into this video today. So today I am going to be talking about one of SEINT's newest launches, which is Demi color. So if you guys don't know what SEINT is this cream-based makeup company that specializes in customizing makeup palette that has everything that you need all in one place, and it creates this 3D foundation look that just makes your skin look so multi-dimensional and also super nice and dewy. For example, this is my compact. It is pretty basic in here. My highlight shades, which are basically foundation, concealer, and a contour shade, which these two together create that 3D look. Then I have a few other extra goodies in here that I really like an illuminator bronzer, lip and cheek, and then they also have a few different products too that I love, like the lip balm, the brow wax, the tile, the powder, and a few shadows as well. So all of my makeup all fits in this very convenient place right here, and it is super foolproof, super fast. It is literally for that girl on the go or someone who loves more glam. You can really build this up to be whatever you want it to be. I am an artist with SEINT, which means that I can help you customize your own makeup palette as well and help you create that 3D makeup look, as well as give you a free makeup lesson on how to use your new makeup. So SEINT recently came out with a new line called Demi, and it is like something that you've never ever seen before. So this is my Demi artist palette right here, and it has literally every single shade of Demi color that is into existence. This is what my palette looks like right here. And if you guys first look at it, you'll think this is an eyeshadow palette, but this is not an eyeshadow palette. This is a new approach to makeup, a more natural approach to makeup. It is basically the no makeup look. And just because, and to answer your question, no, you do not need all of these shades to put on your face and to create this Demi filtered look that this offers, just in case if you're wondering. Demi is definitely way different from 3D foundation. You cannot combine the two. They are two totally different things. They're going to give you two totally different looks, so it's not going to be for everybody. If you guys want to learn more about SEINT's newest line, which is Demi color, then let's go ahead and jump right into all the details. SEINT started off as their 3D foundation, all-in-one compact, super easy. Then you get like a double-sided brush too that just makes it so much faster, so much quicker, so much easier. 3D foundation is definitely going to give you more coverage to the skin. It's going to be a lot faster. It's going to be more true to color. It's basically going to act like a second skin. So you're not going to have that makeup texture because it does look so natural and looks just like skin, and give you that all day wear as well. And you blend together all these different colors to create this three-dimensional look. And it's nice because, again, since it is super quick and easy, you can take it on the go with you, or you can do it at home, whatever you want to do with it. It basically like caters to your needs, so you can get the most natural of finishes to the most fullest of coverage with this foundation, with this makeup concept. And it's super, super cool. But they came out with their Demi line recently, so it is totally different than anything you've ever like heard of. When you first like look at it, it's definitely overwhelming, but once you kind of learn it, it just becomes so much easier. So Demi color is still a cream makeup line. So with Demi color, you strategically apply color on top of color to filter them out, to filter out the different distractions on your face, to give you more of that natural no makeup look. So rather than the traditional approach to foundation where you're adding a lot of different colors and hoping that it looks really good at the end, you apply things strategically onto your face to tackle different problem areas with precision. This is going to still last all day because you only need the tiniest bit, and you guys will see that in a second, and you're not going to have to layer on a bunch of different products. It does provide a flawless finish. When I tell you flawless finish, like literally it looks like no filter is on your skin. That is how flawless it looks. And if you do it right, you won't be able to see it even in sunlight. It definitely preserves your natural skin texture, so you're not going to it's not going to feel or look like you have anything on, and you're still going to be able to see your skin just kind of shine through, which is what I love the most about it. Definitely Demi is going to be more of your natural approach to makeup. It's not going to be for everybody, But if you like more of that no makeup look, you will probably love Demi. This girl right here is wearing Demi. She's not wearing traditional 3D. It is Demi. The cool thing about you getting this little pamphlet here is we get a little glossary on all the terms for Demi. So it lets you know what everything means. Gives you, again, the breakdown on what it is. You're going to help to brighten, sculpt, and filter out your complexion. And then this is the most important thing that you will need for Demi. So it is totally different than anything you've ever like heard of. Color correcting, but it's way deeper than what we know as color correcting. Because whenever you think of color correcting, you think of, like, for example, if I have dark circles, oh, dark circles automatically means I put either a peach or an orange underneath my eyes and I slap it all underneath. But with Demi, like, it's totally different because you're not color correcting, you are color solving, which means that you are finding the solutions to the different colors in your skin. So you're only applying color where there's color. So if I have like an orange spot on my face, I'm not going to apply blue all over the place. I'm only going to apply blue to the spot that it's at. And I'll get more in depth in a second on that. So you're going to be using opposite sides of the color wheel to help to filter out the distractions on your face. It's going to be totally different because when we see this here, we see these colors, we're looking for these type of colors on our face. And obviously you're looking at my skin. I'm definitely have more melanin to my skin, so I have a lot more color. So you're not really seeing any of these colors on my skin because my skin, since it already has pigment, now this green shade is going to look different on my skin because of the fact that I have pigment to me. I'm not just this flat white color, like I have other color to me, and it's gonna alter the way that those colors look on the skin. Or what we want to do is to figure out what those colors are and to identify them is know how to look for them on our skin. So when it comes to identifying different colors on your skin, it is going to be a little bit of a different concept. So the first thing that we want to know is the three primary colors. The first one being yellow. Yellow is the weakest and yellow is also the brightest. So you're going to think of the sun. Anything really, really bright that really stands out. I'm going to insert pictures here just so that you guys can kind of see what yellow would look like on your skin. Then we have the second color, which is red. Red is the most vibrant color. So you're going to think of a stop sign, or you're going to think of a fire truck. Really, really bright, really, really intense. And what we see as red on our skin might not actually be red. And I'll get more into that. Think of the center of a very, very angry pimple. Not just every pimple is red. Sometimes pimples can be violet or they can even be blue. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then we have third primary color, which is the darkest, which is blue. Blue is going to be anything that you see on your skin that has depth and darkness to it, has blue in there somehow. It's not going to be vibrant at all. It's not going to be bright. It's just going to be dull, dark. That's blue on our skin. Then we have the secondary colors. Our secondary colors are the colors that also will help to neutralize out the primary colors. So the first one is going to be orange. Orange is a mix of red and yellow. On the skin, it is going to look a little bit different because it's still going to be vibrant, but it's going to be bright at the same time. Again, it's not going to be a color that we see often and very commonly on our skin, but orange is good to know because orange is going to be the color that's going to help to neutralize blue. So you're going to think, I'm from Florida, so I think Florida Gators, but you can think of Denver Broncos. I think Oklahoma Thunder. A bunch of sports teams tend to use orange and blue. So you're going to want to remember those two because those two are going to complement each other and they're going to neutralize each other. So they're going to filter each other out. Secondary color, which is green. So green is going to be a mix of blue and yellow. So green is going to look almost muddy on the skin. It's going to look mulchy. It's going to look dirty on the skin. A lot of times they say like brown spots on the skin can have a little bit of green, but you want to still see a little tiny bit of brightness to those green spots because you can have a brown spot on your skin, but if there's no brightness to it, if you don't see like a little bit of color to it, it probably has more blue in it than it has green into it. Usually freckles are going to be more on the green side if you have more of a lighter complexion, and just different like spots on the skin might have a little bit of excess green in there. So green is going to cancel out red on the skin and vice versa. Red is going to cancel out green. So when you think of red and green, the obvious one, Christmas, red and green. So that's kind of how you can remember that. And you have your third secondary color, which is purple. So purple or violet is a mix of blue and red. So we're going to look for things that are dark on the skin but still have a little bit of vibrancy. That is going to be something that is purple. Purple is going to cancel out anything yellow, and then vice versa. Yellow is going to cancel out anything that is purple. Purple and yellow, what I think of is the LA Lakers, but you can also think of other things as well. Like someone said Easter. I don't know what else is purple and yellow, but anything that helps you remember that purple and yellow are complementary and they're going to filter each other out, that is what you want to think of. Now that we've figured out what these colors are and how they would look like on our skin, now we have to figure out how to use that to filter out the excess color on our skin to use Demi. So when it comes to Demi, what you're doing is you're going to find different distractions on your skin. So distractions on our skin are usually going to be the things that we see on our skin that kind of stand out, that if it was covered, we would love it so much more. For example, 9 times out of 10, most people have dark under eye circles. If I covered up my dark circles, oh my gosh, I would love how I looked, or I would just feel so much better about myself. So that is going to be a distraction. Maybe you have a lot of eczema or redness on the skin. Like I tend to have a lot of redness around my nose because of hormones and whatnot. So that's another distraction. And then maybe you have acne scarring. You can't really see it from all the way back here, but from up close, you can really see that I have some old acne scarring that still kind of lives on my skin. So that is another distraction that if I had that go away, I would love it. Before you start with Demi, you want to figure out what distractions it is that you want to filter out, and how you want to choose those distractions is trying to find the darkest distractions first and focus on that first. Because once you filter out those darker distractions, you're going to see that the other distractions on your face are probably not going to be as bad or as noticeable, because maybe it's just the really dark distractions that are making the rest of the distractions on your face look really bad. And when you're first starting off with Demi, you want to start with 2 to 3 distractions and no more than that. Because if you start picking and choosing more than those, you're going to, one, be nitpicking at your face way more than you probably should. And you're also going to be getting overwhelmed as well. So I like to start with 2 to 3 just to kind of figure out what exactly it is that I want to filter out, and so that I can make sure that I'm focusing just on those areas. And usually what ends up happening is after I filter out the few distractions that I have chosen, the rest of my skin doesn't look that bad, and it can just really shine through, and it's just mostly my skin that is just beaming through. It's gonna be a little bit different because we're used to traditional makeup where you take your brush, big old brush right here, and you just, swipe it all off, and that's it. Like, you're good to go. But with this, you're using way more precision. So with that being said, Demi actually has their own line of brushes. These brushes are specifically made so that you grab the right amount and that you're filtering out just the areas that you need to. And as you can see, these brushes for the most part are pretty small, besides this one right here. This one is the shape brush right here. So this is going to be used for your sculpting and your blush. Then we have the wash brush right here to help you kind of diffuse those different colors. And then we have these smaller detailing brushes here. So we have 3 different ones. The first one, I believe this one is the blur brush. So that's what it looks like right there. I might be wrong on it. It kind of looks like the eyeshadow brush, which you can use this to apply Demi as your eyeshadow. But this is going to, I also like using it for my nose contouring and whatnot. And then these 2 brushes are probably the ones that you'll be using the most to filter out distractions on your face. So when it comes to filtering out those distractions on our face, we want to make sure that we're focusing on areas that are smaller, the size of a sesame seed or smaller. So that's why these brushes are super, super tiny. So this bigger side here is obviously going to be used to blend out if you use too much. And the smaller sides are going to be used to just target those little areas. This one is the spot brush, which is the one brush that I would recommend to every single person. And then this one right here is the bright brush. I believe it might be the blur brush. I honestly get those 2 confused all the time. This one is a little bit bigger than the bright brush, so it might be a little bit harder for you to have more control. on just targeting those specific areas. Again, like I said, when you're first starting off with Demi, you want to figure out your distractions on your skin first. I got a little bit closer so that you guys can really see what my skin is looking like in real life. This has nothing on it. I just put some skincare on and that's it. But definitely I'm starting off with my darkest area. It's definitely my under eyes. They're actually kind of cooperating today. They're not as bad as they usually are, but just watch the magic of Demi and you guys are going to see that they are actually worse than they look like right now. Definitely redness around my nose. It is kind of chilly today, so my nose gets really red whenever it's kind of cold. And then I have my little acne scars too, that once I do my other, like, filter out my other distractions, I kind of see my acne scars a little bit more, and I wish they weren't there. I feel like it would just make my skin look a lot nicer and look a lot more fresh. You guys obviously saw my big old palette looks like this. And you can get different sizes in the palettes. They have little baby ones. They have this one right here, which this is like where I can put just a few of the shades because I obviously do not need all 49 of those shades. This is where I can go ahead and take out. So with Demi, you will purchase it on the Demi website. You will not purchase this on SEINT's website. I do have my own personalized Demi website as well. So before starting off with the application and how we would do it, I wanted to talk to you guys about the different colors that you would get in Demi. So when you look at this, it was very overwhelming, and you don't have to get this big old palette in all 49 shades to create your own Demi. Once you guys can kind of figure out what distractions you're trying to filter out, you would just get the colors to kind of help with those distractions. I do have a color match form too, where I can help you pick and choose those distractions that you want to filter out so that you can kind of start off. And just depending on you, whether you just want to use it just for your under eyes or if you want to use it for your whole face or whatever the case may be, that is what we will do. The first shade that Demi has to offer is their bright shades. So their brightening shades are what we use to filter out the distractions in our face, and it's going to give a natural radiance so that your skin can illuminate through. So when we first look at this, you see what's going on here. So these shades right here along the edges are going to be our brighter shades, and then they come in different intensities too. For example, this one right here, I think this one down here, let's go with this one. This one's R1. So 1 is going to be your lightest intensity, then it goes to R3, R5, and R7. R7 is going to be the truest. So the R stands for red, the 7 just stands for how intense it is. So the number is always going to be the intensity. So sometimes you might not need these two. Maybe you'll need this, or maybe you'll need this. For the most part, the ones will always work to filter out any single distraction that you have. If it's really dark, that is when you want to go up in the intensity. But 9 times out of 10, we don't have distractions that are that dark. You might think you do, but once you start like actually filtering out the different spots in your face, you'll see that your distraction isn't as dark and as big as you really thought it was from the beginning. Then we have our sculpting shades, which live right here in the middle of my palette. These are going to be what we know again as contouring, and these are going to have an N in the front of it. N stands for neutral, so it's going to be a more neutral color, so it's going to add shadows to the face, and then it has a color next to it too. Yeah, this one's NBG, so it's a neutral blue green, so that is going to help to cancel out. Blue cancels out orange, and then green cancels out red, so it's going to cancel out orangey red colors and add scope or add depth to those areas. Then we have the last two down here, which is our gloss and our balm. These are my absolute favorite. It's just going to give you a nice little fresh glow, just kind of completes everything. I feel like it basically is what seals the deal, and they also smell so good too. Now that we've discovered what everything is, we're going to jump into the demonstration. We are going to start off with our Demi application. So again, after you figure out your distractions on your skin, focus on 2 to 3, maybe to start off. Focus on your darkest one and then work your way up. Or you can focus on the lighter one if you want to do that, because sometimes the darker ones are really hard because there's just so much different colors in it. So when we're sculpting the face, I like to start off with sculpting because I just kind of feel like it just kind of gives you a head start, just kind of chisels out the skin, and it'll kind of help to filter out any distractions on the skin already. And if you need to spot treat any of those areas that you've sculpted, you totally can if you want to make it look a little bit more perfect. So I'm going to start off with this side of my face here. I feel like my distractions are worse on this side than they are on this side. We're going to start off with our sculpting. So the first thing that I'm going to look at when I look at the area where I'm sculpting in is it deep? Is it dark? Is it vibrant? What is it? I'm going to ask myself these questions. So the first question I'm going to start off with is it bright? It's not bright. Is it vibrant? There might be a little bit of vibrancy in here, just a little tiny bit. I do notice there's a little brightness, but it kind of looks darker. Okay, so it's darker. So maybe that means that this area here actually has more of a blue undertone to it, a little bit of redness in here. So I'm going to say it's actually more violet because red and blue make violet. What cancels out violet? Yellow. So that's more like up in here in this area. Down in here, there's so much depth to it and there's not any vibrancy at all. So down in here, it's definitely more blue. So we're going to start off with a yellow sculpt, intense, like a plus or minus. So if it's a plus one, it's going to be NY plus one. That is going to be a little bit darker, versus if it's NY minus one, it's going to be a little less dark. So I'm going to start off at neutral yellow. This is NY plus one. And that's just kind of helping to really balance that out and neutralize it to cancel out and filter out the blue spot. And you guys can see how that's starting to look a lot more softer, a lot more natural, and still creating a nice little sculpt to the skin. So look at this, right? It doesn't look like it made much of a difference, but watch when I show you this side. You can see how that looks like a darker, dingier shadow, while this side just looks more sculpted and natural and soft. It's insane. Take some of that NO and put that around my forehead because there is some shadow in there. It's pretty dark and deep. And plus this kind of gives a little tiny bit of a like almost bronzy like look to the skin. Just feel like it really evens it all out. So again, look at the difference between this side versus this side. All right, so now that my face is kind of sculpted, I just feel like it's kind of balancing on my skin some, but now I'm really noticing my dark circle distractions because they're really standing out. So I'm gonna get as close as I possibly can. So we're gonna start off with this big guy here. And because I already know, I look at my under eyes and again, I'm gonna ask myself those same questions. So we're gonna go right in here and I'm gonna look at it and I'm gonna be like, is it dark? Yes, definitely a yes. That means that there's some excess blue in here. Now, is there any vibrancy to that darkness? Just a little tiny bit. I do notice there is a little bit of some vibrancy right around here. So that must mean that there must be a little tiny bit of violet in here. Maybe there might be a mix of both though, because it's very dark and deep, but it also has just a tiny bit of vibrancy. So because I see that there's so much depth to it and there's just a smidge of vibrancy, I'm going to say that this is more of a blue violet color. So because it's more blue violet, I'm going to use an orange yellow to go ahead and help to start filtering this out. And instead of me swiping like how you probably would traditionally see it, I'm going to show you guys what it would look like when you swipe it. So first of all, grabbing too much is a big no-no. You want to make sure you're only grabbing a little tiny bit. This is way too much product right here. And then just swiping it on like this. I'm going to show you why it doesn't look good. So you guys can kind of see some makeup texture. Definitely did filter out some of the spots, but some of the spots now I feel like this looks kind of orangey right in here because those areas probably weren't as dark as the other spots. So I'm just going to wipe that off. And if you pick the wrong color, for example, if I look at this and I thought, man, that is so dark, I think it's just orange. So I go ahead and grab some of the orange 01 and I just swipe it on here. You guys can still see that it almost looks like white and ashy. It's way too much. First of all, it's creating all this makeup texture and it didn't filter that out correctly. So you'll notice right away that, oh, this is the wrong color because it is still standing out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe that off real quick. And if you ever mess up, you can always wipe it off. So I'm starting off with my spot brush. Again, it has a little tiny spot. And I'm starting off, I'm going to try the yellow orange. Now they do have different like edits on this too. So if you're trying to filter out your dark circles, but you're not 100% sure what colors are underneath your dark circles, they have 3 different angel edits, I think is what they're called, and it just brings 6 different brightening shades. So you have angel edit 1, angel edit 2, and angel edit 3, and depending on your skin tone is which one of the 3 would work for you. So I'm going to start off by just putting color wherever I see color. So right here in this area is the first thing I notice that has a little bit of some darkness to it, and it looks a little vibrant. So I'm literally just pressing the color onto color and not doing anything else. So I'm not swiping it all over my face. I'm only just pressing it onto that area. And already I feel like my under eye is looking way better than this eye right here. All right, one thing I did notice too is that down in here though, this little area has some dark spots that have no vibrancy to it. So they're probably a little bit more orange versus an orange yellow. But it's not the whole spot, it's just some spots. So I'm taking the darkest spots and I'm applying 01 only on those really, really dark spots. And there I used way too much, which happens because it's really, really pigmented. And sometimes you kind of just have to step back and see, is it looking right? Because sometimes when you're in here, it looks right, but then you look back and you're like, oh, it doesn't look right. So I'm going back into that OY1. And then one thing too that I made as a mistake is I used to stab at it, which you can kind of notice that there are some like dots in it. You want to do more of a swipe like that. Like it's like a light feather-like stroke. Very, very light, bare minimum. These areas are vibrant and dark. So I'm just putting that down on my vibrant and dark spots. And you see how that's just starting to filter out so nicely there? Alrighty. So then down in here, I noticed that there's like this little violet vein right here. It's very saturated, but it's very dark. So I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of Y1. And I'm only going to trace wherever I see that violet vein. So it's like kind of like right in here. I have a violet spot right here. And then a little violet spot right here. So you notice that I'm only putting it in those areas. I'm not putting it on the whole big area. That's the difference between Demi and color correcting. And then once you blend it out, it just filters out like magic and then makes everything else not look as bad. Then right out in here, I notice there's so much vibrancy to it, but it does look a little bit dark, but it's still vibrant. So I do think there is some red to it because it is very vibrant, but it's not like a super true vibrant like color. Basically, it's not as red as a stop sign, but it's still pretty red, but there's some depth to it. So because there is red to it, I think this is more of a red violet color. So I'm taking the yellow green color and I'm just going to go ahead. It's really hard to do because my eyelashes being in the way. So the placement might not be 100% accurate. Definitely grabbed way too much, but it's okay. Look at how much better that looks and how much more filtered that looks. It definitely disappeared right there. Look at the difference between this under eye versus this under eye. Okay, and then one thing I like to do too is I kind of look down right here because this lets me know, oh, this little area right in here is not filtered out correctly. Maybe I should do a little bit more filtering. All right, so next up, we're going to target around our nose. So when I first look at my nose, I always thought this was just all red right here. But when I really, really look really deep in there, this definitely has some vibrancy in it, but there's so much depth to it. So I'm going to start off with that yellow-orange shade in the darkest spot. And only put this on the darkest spots. This is definitely my most used color. And as things start to kind of filter out, you'll start noticing other things that need to be filtered, or if you can just like kind of stop because everything's already been filtered all the way. And there's a little bit of mulchiness to it. I do notice a little bit of green in this area here. So ironically, I'm going to use the color that I thought I didn't need, which was red. Right in there. Okay, a few little dots there. Look at that. Look at that compared to this. Insane. Obviously, the tip of my nose here isn't done yet, but we'll do it. Just grabbing the deeper spots, and if you miss a spot, like I noticed I missed that little spot there, I can always go back. And sometimes because you are like touching your face or touching your nose, if your skin is sensitive, it can cause redness in the skin that you probably don't actually already have. So just keep that in mind. And the last thing is right underneath my nose here, I have that brightness. You see how bright and vibrant that is? But it's still a little bit, has a little tiny bit of depth, but not a bunch. So I'm going to say that that is a violet red again. You see I'm only just dotting it because only in the areas I need it. Look at this difference. Look at this nostril compared to this nostril. Plus this has like a little pretty glow. And then also this side of my face is starting to look more complete than this side of my face. Insane. All right, so our skin's starting to look really, really good so far, and we're not even done yet, but it's looking so much better. So the next area is definitely down in here, my acne scars. So usually acne scars are going to be deep and dark, and they're rarely are going to be vibrant. So I'm going to start off with a straight up orange. Darkest spot. And you definitely want to be very precise with it. So not what happens. So for example, this here next to it, I'm going to just blob it on so you can see what happens when you're not precise. So then when I go to blend it out, now the center part has kind of filtered out, but then we have this white ring around here because that white ring around there didn't need the orange. And grab, for my more vibrant little acne scars, the yellow orange. So I think this is OY1. So they're a little more vibrant. They probably have some violet in it. Look how much better that's looking. Literally, what acne scars. Okay, this one right here, but it's still kind of dark, so we're taking the orangey yellow. It's just insane. I can't get over it. Look at that. It's starting to look so good compared to this side. All right, so everything's looking really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and start off with our nose contour. I'm looking at my nose area again, and I notice there's a little bit of some very minimal depth to it. I'm going to start off with the NG because there's a little tiny bit of redness in there. And if it doesn't look right, it kind of starts looking like a bruise. I know it's wrong. So maybe it's more blue. So I'm going to take an NGB. Still feel like there's too much green in there. So I'm going to take NB. So I think because I mostly filtered out my nose already, because I usually would have to filter this out with a little bit of green to cancel out the redness that I have in my nose there. But because I've already filtered it out, I can go ahead and use the NV, the violet, just cancel out some of the yellow tones in my skin and give me more of a natural sculpt. Nose is sculpted, and then we're going to go ahead and apply our cheek color. So with this, you kind of have freedom to do whatever you want. I have a lot of yellowiness to my skin, but I also have a little bit of oranginess, so I can really go with anything that I kind of want. Obviously I don't have a blue, but I do have violets, which I could use that violet shade, but I kind of really like to add this color right here. I think this is RO7, and then just grabbing a little tiny bit of that, and this just adds nice warmth to my skin. So you can kind of choose to your liking. I kind of like the peachy vibe. I think it looks pretty. Not really a specific reason why I chose this color. And there is a little tiny bit of some like very small little sunspots on my skin anyway, so the darkness of it is going to be canceled out by the oranginess. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the gloss shade, take the other side of the wash brush, and just put that right on top right there. So there's that little fresh glow. This is definitely the bomb. I can feel the consistency of it. Ooh, look at that highlight though. Just put a little bit on the tip of my nose there, just grabbing that color we use on our cheek. Personally, I really like this shade here. This is OR5. It's like a really pretty peachy color. I feel like it just looks more like my natural lip color, or at least the undertones in my natural lip that I like. And take a little bit of the balm, put that right on top, and that just kind of completes the look. And look at what our face is looking like. Literally looks like I have no makeup on. It looks so natural. Everything is just all kind of filtered out. No distractions are really peeking through. It is just insane. I love the power of Demi. And then if you want to take a little bit of shadow, you totally can. You can enhance the shadows that we already have in our eye. I like taking this shade here, NO7, or NO, I mean. I'm putting that in the crease. And that, my friends, is the power of Demi. You put on mascara. If you want to put on eyeshadow, you're more than welcome to. You can also use the neutral shades. Like I like using NB. to just kind of help fill in my eyebrows a little bit. So it's really, really versatile. And you guys saw that I did not use every single shade that I have here. I mostly used these colors right here because I have so much depth to my skin because I naturally have that. See? And that's it. That's the power of Demi. It definitely does take me a lot faster to do it. Right now I'm at like about 15 minutes or so to do my full face of Demi. Sometimes I can do it in 10, just depends on how much I want to put into it. But once you like practice more and more, you get way faster at it, because at first it took me like half an hour to figure it out. But once I figured it out, it's like game changing. Like you guys can see, literally looks like I have no makeup on at all. My skin just looks nice and natural. You can't see any texture of makeup on my skin at all. It is just insane. And obviously you can sit there and like pick, like continue to filter out the rest of your face if you really wanted to, and if you really want to spend that time on it and make it a little more glamorous. But I personally like to leave it at this because I feel like my skin still looks really, really natural, but it's filtered out enough where it makes such a big difference. And I'm going to show you guys what it looked like before so that you guys can see that this is like some magical stuff. It might not look like much at first, but when you actually do it, it is insane. So I do have a color match form for Demi. It's going to be very similar to 3D's color match form where you send me a makeup-free picture of you, but I do want it a little bit more close up and make sure you can really see the details in your skin. And then also just kind of you target telling me what distractions it is that you have, whether if it's acne scars, dark spots, whatever the case may be. You kind of will pick and choose which ones it is. So I hope I didn't confuse you guys, and I hope that this makes sense to you. And again, this is such a revolutionary makeup line. It's not going to be for everybody, but I think it will definitely be for a lot. I got your back too. If you do purchase Demi, I will be there to do a one-on-one lesson with you and show you how to use it correctly and even guide you on how to use it and whatnot. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Until then,